In today's episode, we'll be following Victor Blom on a PokerStars Caribbean Adventure Tournament with a buy-in of $10,000. The blinds are $12,000, $24,000, and an ante of $3,000. There's only 3 players left and Blom is on the button. He raises to $55,000 but gets re-raised from Hall, the small blind, to $125,000. The big blind folds. Blom has the button and King-9, which is a decent hand when playing three-handed, so he calls. On the flop, Blom hit top pair. Hall bets $175,000, which may look a bit more than a value bet, but this is the right bet if he has a good hand, because there are 2 big cards, straight, and a flush draw on the board, which means if Blom has a piece of the board, there's going to be some action. Blom has top pair, but Hall re-raised pre-flop and continued with a decent bet on the flop, which means that if he has a hand, it could be a hand like King, Jack, Aces, Ace-King, King-Queen, Ace-Jack, a set of Jacks, Sixes, and maybe Kings. In addition, Hall can hold a big draw like Ace-Queen of spades, Queen-10 of spades, or even Jack-10 of spades, and with those hands he'll surely bet the same amount. So it seems that there are a lot of hands that can beat Blom, and there's a lot of hands that if Blom raises, he'll get re-raised immediately. This is why raising on the flop isn't the best option. Now, top pair on the flop with position is not a hand to fold three-handed, so Blom definitely shouldn't fold here. Instead, he decides to call, but he should be very careful because if a brick shows up on the turn and Hall continues betting, it'll be pretty hard to call. But for now, it seems to be the best option. On the turn, a 4 of clubs shows up and Hall decides to check. Now, when there's 3 players left in a tournament, it's very risky to trap with a big hand. This is why the check by Hall is another way of saying he doesn't have King-Jack, Aces, Ace-King, King-Queen, or a set, and it looks like Blom can now think he has the best hand. So when Blom decides to bet $275,000 out of a $633,000 pot, which is less than half, it's for 2 reasons. The first is if Hall still has outs, he'll have to call. And if Hall by any chance was trapping and raises Blom, which looks unlikely, he can still get out of the hand. But Hall decides to call, and now Blom knows for sure that he has the best hand. So when the 7 of hearts shows up and Hall checks, Blom bets a value bet and Hall folded. It turns out that Hall had Queen-Jack of spades, and if Blom was raising on the flop, he was getting a re-raise by Hall, and it's hard to call with top pair and a mediocre kicker. So it seems that Blom's call on the flop was the best move.